we are going to take a look into the chapter sets and the exercises 1.1 and 1.2 from the chapter. Before we start the exercises, let's take a quick look at the introduction. A set in mathematics is a collection of well defined and distinct objects, considered as an object in its own right. Which means, in simple terms or in layman terms, a set can be defined as a collection or a group of objects, or maybe even a single object, when they when a group of objects come under defined parameters, then that particular group can be called as a set. A set is textually represented in the forms of union or intersection formats, and when it comes to visual representation, they are used Venn diagrams. All of these will be further explained in the upcoming slides or in the upcoming exercises. Which of the following are sets? Justify your answer. Now, the collection of all the months of a year beginning with the letter J, which means we have to figure out whether this particular question can be defined as a set or not. Now, we have 12 months in a year, and out of those, we have January, we have June, and we have July. These 3 months consists of the word letter J beginning with it. Thus, we can say that, and thus this is a defined set, a well-defined group, and thus can be called as a set. The collection of 10 most talented writers of India. Now, talent is a qualitative word. It differs from person to person, because on the basis of prejudice, views, thoughts, opinions, biases, and as such. And thus, this particular concept cannot be considered as a set, as it can differ from person to person. A team of 11 best cricket batsmen of the world. Now, 11 best cricket batsmen of the world again is a talented based question, since it's and again it's a qualitative based question, and thus cannot be considered for the answer to be considered as a set. The collection of all boys in your class. Boys in a class can be considered as a set because of the fact that the boys in a class is a countable noun. They are finite, they can be counted, and thus they are considered as a set. The collection of natural numbers less than 100, the natural numbers less than 100 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until 99. And this is a finite set, a big one, but yet a finite set, and this again can be considered as a set. The collection of novels written by the writer Munshi Premchand. Now, this particular collection is a collection of novels, and again a countable and a quantitative figure, and thus can be considered as a set. A collection of all even integers. A collection of even integers are 0, 0, 4, -4, and such, and thus again can be considered as a set. Collection of questions in this chapter. There might be a lot of questions in a given any given chapter, but again, since they are bound to end at some point of time, and thus they are bound by a parameter, and thus they are a well defined group, and thus they can be called as a set. A collection of most dangerous animal of the world. Now, there are a lot of animals, and some animals might be dangerous for some people and others might not be, and thus they have a prejudiced thoughts on it. They might have a biased thoughts on the given scenario, and thus again they don't qualify as a quantitative figure, and thus will be disqualified, and it is disqualified to be called as a set. Let's take a look at the solutions again. This collection of all months of a year beginning with J is January, June, and July, and is defined and is forming a set. Most talented writers are not defined because the opinions about writers may vary from person to person, as I explained earlier. The team of 11 best cricket batsmen of the world is not defined because the opinions and best cricketer batsmen again persons to persons. The collection of all boys in a class is a well defined and it forms a set. Natural numbers less than 100, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 99 is a well defined group, and thus it forms a set. A collection of novels written by writer Munshi Premchand is a well-defined group, and hence it forms a set. Collection of all even integers, which is a well-defined group, again forms a set. And again, as we explained earlier, this chapter is about will have a collection of questions, but again they are definite and finite, and thus forms a set. And the most dangerous animals of the world is not defined because opinions may vary from person to person.